Hello, viewers. It's episode 19, and welcome back to What's Happening Africa with me, Tanya. Hi, and welcome back to What's Happening Africa with me, Tanya. Thank you for tuning in once again to get your weekly updates of what's happening in our beloved continent, Africa. If this is your first time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow for more information about everything you need to know about what's happening in Africa every week. And if you want shorter, quicker updates and shorter videos, you can follow us on TikTok and Instagram on the handles below. Thank you once again for joining, and next week is going to be episode 20, as well as our followers almost reaching 100. I think we're on 92. It's small, but we're getting up there. So if you have any ideas on what we can do to celebrate that, or something special you want me to cover, a conversation you want me to have, please comment below in the comment section. Let's have a conversation about Africa, our continent, what we love, what you want to hear more about. I love talking about Africa, so please do not hesitate to comment or send me a message on the other handles on Instagram or on TikTok. So we're going to get right into it. But this week, the news is leaning more towards the Southern African side. I do not know whether that is my own bias, but if that is the case, please suggest topics or conversations you want me to have again in the comment section below. But because most of the conversations that we're going to have today are a little lighthearted and are based in Southern Africa, let's start in Liberia, where the elections have recently been held and the ballots have been counted. Liberia's general elections have concluded with the counting of ballots after voters cast their choices, and the nation's main concern remains peace in the country scarred by past civil wars. The election saw voters deciding on whether football legend W.H.A.T would secure a second term as president. Despite lengthy queues at polling stations, the main political parties pledged peaceful elections, but clashes and fears of violence marred the campaign period, with scuffles occurring during W.H.A.T's final rally. The election marks the first since the United Nations ended its peacekeeping mission in Liberia in 2018, following years of civil conflict. W.H.A.T, who transitioned from a football career to politics, is a favorite amongst 19 presidential rivals. International observers, including the European Union, African Union, ECOWAS, and the United States, have been deployed to monitor the elections in a region recently affected by a coup attempt. Some critics have voiced concern over W.H.A.T's unfulfilled promises, but we just hope that no matter the result, peace and democracy is established in Liberia and that everything goes along peacefully. In regards to elections, we're going to move down to Southern Africa in Zimbabwe, where recent disputes have led to the opposition MPs being removed from parliament. All MPs from Zimbabwe's main opposition party have been suspended for 6 parliamentary sessions with no salaries for the next 2 months. The decision came from Speaker Jacob Mudenda after the Citizens Coalition for Change (CCC) held protests in Parliament, alleging that 15 of its MPs were wrongly stripped of their seats. A false letter from someone impersonating the CCC Secretary General falsely claimed that these MPs were no longer party members. Despite CCC leader Nelson Chamisa urging the speaker to ignore the letter, he declared the 15 seats vacant, leading to disruptions by CCC's MPs in parliament. Riot police were reportedly summoned, escalating tensions in the country still dealing with post-election controversy. The case is likely to worsen political tensions, which have been high since controversial presidential elections in August, while Nelson Chamisa lost to incumbent President Emmerson Mnangagwa. It appears a misunderstanding, a false letter, and impersonation may be at the core of this dispute. Nonetheless, it is a right for the citizens of Zimbabwe to know what is happening, and we hope that the parliament resolves this quickly so that equal representation is shown in this nation's parliament. Talking about controversy, we're going to move to Kenya, where a controversial book has been pulled off the shelves. A Kenyan publishing company, Mentor Publishing, has withdrawn a textbook featuring an image of Prophet Muhammad due to protests by Muslim leaders and parents who found it blasphemous. The Muslim community expressed concerns about the illustrations and its request for students to color it. The publisher acknowledged their mistake, regretting the inclusion of the drawing in an Islamic studies book for second-year primary school students. This decision is significant in Kenya, where about 11% of the population follows Islam, addressing a sensitive religious matter. Depicting the Prophet Muhammad is a deeply sensitive issue for Muslims. The publisher offered a sincere apology, committed to removing the drawing from future editions, and pledged to collaborate with the Muslim Education Council for catalog review. Teachers and students have been advised to return the book to the publisher, with Sheikh Ramadan praising the recall but urging publishers to consult with Muslim leaders for future materials. Religion is a very sensitive matter, and I am so happy that they managed this peacefully and well in my books. Ironically, I think they did it very well, and it could have caused more havoc, but it was amicably resolved. Talking about resolving issues and pulling back statements, let's talk about the false doctor in South Africa. Most of our stories today are going to be in South Africa, so that's why I decided to end with that, with the headlines on almost all news platforms in South Africa, including social media, talking about Dr. Matthew, a false doctor on social media who has been influencing several viewers, watchers, and followers on medical advice and products, when it turns out he is actually not a qualified doctor. The South African Medical Association, SAMA, has condemned Matthew Lani, a social media influencer who falsely portrayed himself as a doctor, highlighting the significant risk posed by such individuals to the public. The Gauteng Department of Health has reported Lani to the police for impersonating a doctor. Lani, who claimed to be employed by the Gauteng Department of Health and received a substantial social media following, has been disavowed by his alleged alma mater, the University of Witwatersrand, which stated that he did not graduate from the institution. SAMA expressed concern over the rising trend of fake health professionals and the threats that they pose, emphasizing the potential harm resulting from their lack of qualifications, registrations, and ethical standards, which could lead to misdiagnosis, inappropriate treatments, and unregulated procedures. The Gauteng Education Department also confirmed having no record of a matric certificate for Matthew Bongani Lani. Shocking for people who follow him on social media platforms, and even for platforms such as radio stations that have decided to feature him as a guest advisor or a guest doctor. It is scary that some of this information we're consuming may not be as factual as we think it is. I think when it comes to medical concerns, we should just go to the doctor. But he claims that this was all a persona, and it was a persona that he created for social media. But that is yet to be judged in court, where he's actually being charged for impersonating a doctor. Talking about medical issues, the eggs, again, another issue in South Africa, are being pulled back due to a potential risk of a health defect in these eggs in the supermarkets. South Africa is facing an egg shortage due to its severe bird flu outbreak, resulting in millions of chickens being culled, empty supermarket shelves, and concerns about rising egg prices, which is a vital protein source for many living in poverty. The highly pathogenic avian influenza outbreak has affected the poultry industry, leading to significant financial losses for businesses and the potential for a shortage of chicken meat in the coming months. While some farms have managed to avoid the flu and are experiencing increased demand, it may take up to 6 months to replace the culled chickens. South Africa's government is considering purchasing bird flu vaccines to address the crisis, with neighboring Namibia already banning poultry imports from the country. Fortunately, if you are in South Africa right now and you have just recently purchased eggs, I can assure you that the officials have stated that all of the eggs that are on the shelves right now are clean and you have nothing to worry about. But you might have a shortage in eggs and the prices might go up, unfortunately. But I do have good news for you in South Africa and for the whole continent as a whole. If you are a fan of Tyler, who's a South African colored musician, or you just love Amapiano, I have good news for you. She has just been recently featured on the Billboard Awards. Well, not the awards, but the Billboard list, which is good enough. South African Amapiano sensation Tyler, at just 21 years old, achieved an impressive debut on the Billboard Hot 100 with her viral hit W.H.A.T. The track secured the number 67 spot, marking her first appearance on the prestigious US music chart, as announced by Billboard magazine. Tyler, a multi-talented singer, dancer, and performer, has only a few singles to her name, but is already recognized as one of Africa's most promising talents. Signed to Epic Records, Sony, she opened for the American R&B singer Chris Brown on his European tour this year. W.H.A.T, released in July, quickly gained popularity, especially on TikTok, with a video of Tyler's dancing amassing over 70 million views. The official video with R&B elements has garnered over 11 million YouTube views and outperformed Spotify listens compared to South Africa's global hit Jerusalema by Master KG. Tyler celebrated her Billboard entry on social media, expressing a desire to spread South African music worldwide, while also preparing for her debut album, declaring it a victory for all of Africa. Indeed, it is a victory for all of Africa, and I'm always happy to talk about African musicians, African art, African culture, and our beauty being spread across the world, unlike just the bad media that they decide to bolster over the good news. So, congratulations to you, Tyler, and to all the other African musicians, artists, and actors out there. You know them all. Thank you once again for watching What's Happening Africa with me, Tanya. Please do not hesitate to comment in the comment section. I love to hear what you're thinking, what your opinions are, even just your crazy thoughts, because it starts the conversation and it gives me something to work with next week. Next week is episode 20, which I'm super excited about, and we're almost there at 100 followers. So please don't forget to share this with your friends and family, and follow if you're not following, and also urge all of your co-workers, friends, family, everyone, follow, like, because these are important conversations we're having. We're talking about our continent in a positive light for the most part. So thank you, enjoy your day, and goodbye. See you next week.